What up? What up? What up? And this one of the night is Saturday. They don't got to go to work, and I told her, turn that goddamn game off. Let's go ahead and just chill tonight, man. We chill out with y'all, man. So that's what we're gonna do tonight, man. Ain't gonna probably be on here too long. We ain't gonna be on here that long. None of that shit that like that. Cause it's cold. I'm gonna go in there and relax and chillax with my wife. We got a lot of people out there losing their situation on the situation of this fight. It's crazy, but it is what it is. So you feel me? It is what it is. So you feel me? People out there suffocating, baby. You heard that? Them people out there suffocating.
In the fire?
Yeah. Yeah, they out there getting crushed out there, babe.
That ain't good.
Huh?
I said that ain't good.
How you know? How you know?
Hell, who wants to suffocate?
Depends on who gets suffocated. Don't you think?
Yeah, but you.
I don't know. See, you got too much compassion in your heart. I don't think I got the same views of what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? I think you something else. I think you one of those. And I know you was one of those. Why you ain't tell me you were one of those? Huh? One of those. You know what one of those is. You know what I'm saying? Want to know? You know? Yeah, them juju lovers. You a juju lover.
You house, bro. Hey, brother, give me a question. Man, fuck.
So that's how we're gonna chill out tonight, y'all.
You know about it, be where you stay, pussy. Cause you get to your eyes, you ready your bullshit. Jump out that chop, I get real foolish. Bullshit, they gon' be ready your bullshit. You know about it, be where you stay, pussy. Cause you get to your eyes, you ready your bullshit. Jump out with that chop, I get real foolish. Keep bullshit, they gon' be ready your bullshit. But get dropped off with them boom late night. We gon' dug off with them choppers and sit tight. They ready your
What you say?
until you come by. And when we finish the rap, gonna have to put you on high. You be jumping about the bush, ain't that night. You throw some shit, but it ain't gonna be right. Hollow points gonna be whistling, coming back to bite. Nigga, we murking, we worry about you fucking jive. We come for the money, we come for your life. Nigga, we patient with this shit, we'll it all night. We done did it for sunlight. You don't know it yet, but fuck nigga, you get wide. You know about it, be where you stay, pussy. Cause you get into your eyes, you your bullshit. Jump out with that chop, I can real foolish. was I had. Since you turn up in this bitch, we put it on your ass. Fuck niggas that run it. Don't laugh. Fools on all the niggas we so sad. You ain't do it right, you right, gon' bring that body back. Wanna see what you do when you see that ski mask. Want you to slide for that y'all when you see it flash. We don't let you get out, we shootin' through your glass. Walking to your car, shoot that chopper looking mad. Bustin' from the school, bustin' from the van. Kick a young nigga, get off and off. You know what to do when you say pussy. Cause you get to your eyes, you ready your bullshit. Jump out with that chop, I can real foolish. Keep bullshit, be ready your bullshit. You know about it, keep when you say pussy. Bitch, you get to your eyes, you real bullshit. Jump out with that real. Keep bullshit, nigga, we ready your bullshit. I go lurk all day, looking for spies. Trying to find where you land and what you got. I done followed you on as you know it or not. Until we beat something, we serving the blind. Even y'all was on deck, so we ready to squad. Nigga riding all morning since they ever climbed. I'm on your bill, we ready to wine. So if you sleeping and we ready to fly. So we out, but fit the right, you on the shot. All the time with big Julius, no cloud. All the y'all was all safety line. Better hope your bullshit and I next fire. You know about it, keep what you say, pussy. Bitch, you get to your eyes, you ready your bullshit. Jump out with that chop, I can real foolish. Keep bullshit, nigga, be ready your bullshit. You know about it, keep say, pussy. Bitch, you get to your eyes, you ready your bullshit. Jump out with that chop, I can keep bullshit on your bullshit.
Well, what you feel about that fire, babe? I'm talking about that bitch that burning, not burning. I'm talking about that bitch ain't playing. I ain't lying. I ain't lying, boy. That bitch not man. Oh, I think the kill count, the unalive count done jumped up to 11, I think. Yeah, one of the two so far. And they were saying they definitely gonna be finding more people if once they go back into the ash and stuff. How they gonna find the people? Oh, the bones. Unless the fire really moved over fast or something. Cause I was trying to figure that out. How you gonna find these motherfuckers? You know what I'm saying? Cause they out. You did. I know it was one jazz musician. And his house got, and he talking about everything burned down. But even if your credit card get burned up, you still got your name. You should have had your wallet and all that shit on you, right? I'm just saying, any reasonable person. Now that should still be there. Safes don't burn up. Which I think, I'm not the brightest person in the world, but I'm thinking safe up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So you could have went back and got the, you know what I'm saying, your little assets and stuff. He lost. I think the nigga was more crying about his instruments and shit. All the instruments got fried up. Hold on, y'all. Don't be all that. Don't knock this situation. Ooh, Courtney. Courtney, why you pulling like that?
I'm glad everybody got to hear how you just let it out.
How you just let it go. She just let it go. Yeah, man. I just said, man, that's some wild shit right there, though. You know what I'm saying? What else been going on in your news life? You be looking at a lot of shit though, babe. Huh? That you ain't lying about that. You sure do look at too much shit. Just almost collaborated with that Ford you just did.
That was you.
Who?
That was not me.
Oh, you need to cut that out, Sean. They don't gotta go to work tomorrow. She's laying low. Hey, tell y'all, boy, hey, my uncle, he shot out, boy. That nigga that was blaming my daddy all day about this. That nigga went to this nigga house. He wasn't gonna let that shit go. He was finna get that damn Jack. My boy, yeah, man. Then all of a sudden the Jack inside the car. I wonder did he call him and tell him apologize or something.
But when he seen that the Jack was in the car, what did he say?
Ooh. Boy, I'm glad to see that. I say, boy, niggas is something else, boy. Niggas is something else. We're gonna get into it, y'all. Y'all already know how this shit go, y'all. Man, like I say, man, we just chilling, man. This son on here say a lot of what the hell? Oh, I'm gonna take this out. I'm gonna take this out. Said this lawyer gave that left white folks upset. Let's see what the speech was.
Can offer you. Until then, let's dive right into the video. Human beings are social creatures by definition. We've never lived in isolation from one another. We've always lived in families and tribes. You ever meet a rugged individual race and association? They would be like a race don't even know matters, and that the things that she didn't just happen, that they're the result of certain policies. Because here's what's interesting about those same white folks who had been poor and struggling to leave public housing and to leave urban areas and to hustle it out to the suburbs where only we could live, or to the smaller towns where only we were going to be welcome. So what's interesting is that the hood became the hood because only people of color now were allowed to live there. White folks were literally being subsidized by the government to move to the suburbs. The white middle class, and make note of this, was built by government programs that underwrote those loans because they don't have affordable.
You heard that, babe? Did you hear that?
Loan. Otherwise, they were able to get one because the government underwrote the loan and guaranteed the loan in case of default, but only for people of color. Only for white folks. People of color, by and large, couldn't get in on any of that. People of certain neighborhoods deteriorated economically, other neighborhoods went up. And at the very same time, the government was doing what they called urban renewal, which meant black neighborhoods and Latino through the heart of the community, right? Knocking down homes, knocking down black-owned businesses all over the country. Between 50 and 19, about 1 in 5 apartments or houses lived in by black folks was knocked to the ground for economic development purposes, even though people of color couldn't benefit from almost any of that economic development. So that's how our communities come to look the way they look. But if we don't know that, and if I don't tell my daughter that, but maybe let's say I don't tell her, is going to assume is the answer. What would you assume is the answer? You know what we would assume if we're not taught the history? We would default to the position of this culture, which says what? Wherever you end up, it's all about you. So if you're living in a meritocracy, and wherever you end up is all about your own genius, your own morality, your own cultural ethics. That's what we believe, and we believe that even though there is no such thing as a rugged individual in the history of human beings. How do I know that? Very simple. Hello, welcome back to the channel. Did you find where you are today? This is Present Agentic Stories, and I hope that you find. Now, today's video that I'm here to address is about Dr. Tim Wise. This is a continuation of the previous video that you recently watched. Now, there's something that Dr.
You know what I ain't get yet? How all these foreigners always talking about some shit they don't know? They saying shit that they heard. You get what I'm saying? These little foreigner channels is getting up there and getting all type of views, and they ain't even in America. So how would you know if this shit here is true or not? You going by what somebody else say. You get what I'm saying? Now I'm not saying what the white dude saying is wrong. You get what I'm saying? I'm talking about why the information got African booty scratch.
I heard something very interesting. What he said, it goes back to people always, oh, black people just won't start it out with a handout. Start with a handout, but yet you blame the same thing.
Same contribution. All right. I, I, town was. All right, boom. Let me capitalize. See everybody, let's capitalize off this and let's capitalize off that. You get what I'm saying? And I believe that's how a lot of this situation created itself. You feel me? Instead of people fighting for, oh, we don't want this, like how Putin doing, we seen some benefits in this situation somehow, some way. And didn't realize that they won't benefit this shit for themselves because they're creating the currency. And when there's no currency, you know what I'm saying?
And you know what? He said something else too that was very interesting. You see how, okay, yeah, they upgraded and moved to different areas. And they made sure the areas here in these neighborhoods like this. What did he say? He said this so that black people could not you couldn't move out there because you couldn't afford it.
It was all right.
Because they didn't want you.
So you didn't hear what actually was said. Ohio was it wasn't no suburb.
They build them for them to upgrade. So
it wasn't no such thing as a suburb. All it was is people living, black folks living, white folks weren't getting no hand. Nobody would build a area for these folks to live in like how they got it now. It just reversed. That's what he said. It reversed. So when they start stealing your land, they start building their own situation, and that's how you created a suburb.
And how he said they start taking people houses, black people houses. That's why they built the
expressways and all that.
Expressways and stuff. And guess what they wanted to do through there where growing them house was? Building.
Listen, but it wouldn't have had to happen on, y'all. Well, let's listen to this crazy crap.
Yeah, if you're watching this video for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. General membership will really get written off for you. Until then, let's dive right into the video.
Human beings are social creatures by definition. We've never lived in isolation from one another. We've always lived in families and tribes and communities, nations, right? If you ever meet someone who's actually...
Could you hear me now, Truth? If you still there? I don't know. Let me see. Mic check, mic check. All right, y'all, yeah. Listen to this white boy.
A rugged individual and hasn't been raised in a social context, you need to get the hell away from that person. They would be like a feral animal, right? They would be wild. It'd be like being raised on an island by a porpoise. They wouldn't even know how to have language. They'd probably try to eat you because they wouldn't understand there's like a taboo against that, right? You need to get the hell away from anybody who's actually a rugged individual because there are no such thing. And certainly, let me just say this, if you inherited $200 million from your daddy's real estate empire, you sure as hell are not a self-made anything or a rugged individual. You might want to write that shit down. So there is no rugged individual anything. We're all social beings. Some have had opportunity, others have not. Unless we're honest about that, unless we're willing to have a conversation, we end up misleading ourselves and we can't understand what we're seeing. And then if we can't understand it, we're not going to fix it, right? We're not going to fix the disparity in housing if we don't understand where it came from. So if the data says, and it does, that white folks on average have 15 times the net worth of black folks, 13 times the net worth of Latino folk, right? We just assume, well, we must have worked harder. Is that right? That's interesting because actually the black folks and brown folks have done some of the hardest work in this country ever since the country was founded. Were it not for the labor of African descended peoples, there would be no country at all. In fact, it was my family, white slave owning family in the South, that got black folks to do all the hard work because we were lazy asses and didn't want to work at all. White folks in the South on the plantation used to want to sit on the porch and drink mint juleps and have carriage rides rather than work, while black folks did all the real labor. And yet we decided that black folks are lazy, which I find fascinating, right? And then people write to me and say, well, these black people, they're just taking all the jobs. Okay, which is it, Precious? Because it can't be both. People of color can't take all the jobs and be lazy. I don't ask much of racists because I expect very little, but you cannot be lazy and take all the jobs. Are we at least clear on that? Like if you took all the jobs, you were like the opposite of lazy. If you are indeed lazy, you probably did not even take one job, let alone all of them. So I just need racists to get their damn story straight. That's all I ask. I just don't like moving targets. That's all, right? But if I don't tell my daughter the truth, she defaults to the position of the culture, and then she can't understand what the problem is. The same is true with policing. You can't understand the Black Lives Matter movement and the importance of it if you don't know the history and the relationship.
I swear it seems like they be trying to make this conversation like Christopher Columbus didn't happen. You get what I'm saying, Courtney?
Baby, I'm in the bathroom. I can't eat.
They try to make this argument that Christopher Columbus didn't really happen. If it didn't happen, why you told us this? And the story is that he came and seen fit to a country that already habitat people. So you can't make a country when the country has already got people in it. It doesn't make sense, and it ain't gonna make sense. And they need to stop that fucking lie. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like I say, if you were from Africa, you're going to have descendants from Africa. If you're from Africa, you're going to know people that you're going to know a grandma, a granddaddy. We all old enough. We got people that's 70, 80 years old, 100 years old, and they can't tell you a damn motherfucker that came from Africa. But you got the same type of motherfuckers that can tell you that they mama or their grandma is in Africa. We need to get that out the way first. They need to stop trying to play this damn role to say that black folks are from Africa. African people is from Africa. Y'all already told that whatever have it go. They don't even want to hear that shit, because just like Caucasians know that their parents are from Europe, just like Haitians know their parents from Haiti. It goes that same way. I haven't found yet a black person, a black Native American, to tell me that they have people, they know somebody named Chibubu over there in Africa, in Ghana, Ethiopia. None of this shit. They ain't nobody else yet could tell me this. And they ain't talking about young folks. I'm a grown man. I'm an older grown man. And I've been around grown folks that's older than me. Ain't nobody told me they were gonna take a trip to Africa to go see their grandma. They say they went to their great grandma or their aunties or whatever. They went to North Carolina. They went to Vegas. They went to these places. You know where the Africans I met, you know where they say they finna go? I'm finna try to get me a passport to go over there to Africa to go see my auntie, my grandma, or my whatever. You know what the elderly white person gonna say? My people is from over here in Europe. We migrated. My grandma migrated. My mama migrated over here. And these white folks that they spread these stories, they want to make us believe that somehow that we got descendants in Africa that we never met, that we don't know about, but the oldest Caucasian can't tell you that they got descendants from North Carolina, from Alabama, from Mississippi. They can't do it. They all gonna tell you that their nationality comes from Europe. African gonna tell you, and another thing that I want motherfuckers to understand, that you don't lose your train of voice. You get what I'm saying? I don't care how long a Haitian been in America, they never lost their chain of accent. You know what I'm saying? They sound like they from where they from, even though they were born and raised in America.
Yeah.
So how we don't sound like that? We saying.
So if I was I would have been still talking like that.
You would have been still,
I would have had an accent.
No, because your parents wouldn't have lost their accent. Your great grandma wouldn't have lost their accent. Mm-hmm. They would have passed that down. They'd have passed it down. They'd have passed it down.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't understand how they keep trying to throw that shit out there, like we dumbasses.
Yo.
Oh, y'all just go for whatever we was always. You didn't find. How could you found something that was already here? They keep saying this word. I found her. We the founder. You ain't no founder of no country. You're from Europe.
Yeah.
You can't call yourself what you is. You call yourself a colonizer. Call yourself that. Mm-hmm. Call yourself a person that's in prison other people. Call yourself in and he already admitted that he from a family of slavery.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
So if you're gonna tell the truth, tell the truth.
I wouldn't have even told nobody that.
That's what I'm saying. If you gonna, all right, don't tell half of your truth. Tell the whole truth. And this is what I get tired of white folks doing, is telling half of the truth. Yeah. And not letting they people know that Caucasian have a meaning.
See, the thing about it is, though, they don't want to make each other feel bad. No, in a sense, that's what he's trying to do, but you can't do that without the truth. You got to put the whole truth in. You can't founder something that, all right. Well, it's just like us. Like people that we love, we don't want to give them the hardcore truth.
So you telling me
sometimes we lightened it for them because
you telling me a person a founder of Orange?
No.
I'm the founder of Orange. Cause nigga, I'm telling you, I'm the founder of this Orange. How the hell I'm gonna be fond of an orange and God created this goddamn fruit? So how could you could founder a country that already had people there that y'all would be low of, and y'all just created y'all all right, I give y'all this. Y'all was slick. Y'all was slick. Y'all seen the possibilities, and y'all had a creative mind. We were stuck in just living.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We were just stuck in just living.
Yeah.
We weren't thinking about no wars, no this and that. We no country come to take us over. We weren't thinking like that.
Yeah, we were just living ready.
And you came in with that chain of thought of
let me just bamboozle.
I could take over this country.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Because these motherfuckers so lame.
Yeah.
Courtney said the people we love, we don't want to give the hardcore truth. Man, now it's for real. Black folk, black Native American, I want to know how many of you niggas could say y'all got a cousin or auntie, a great grandma, any of that that's from Africa.
You know what I figured out?
And if you do got that, you are from Africa.
Why they trying to get us to say that we're Africans? Because they know that their true history is European.
No, it's
see, we don't have that because that's not us. We're
why
not
do
African.
you keep saying who?
We're not African.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to understand. I want to stay on topic. What I'm trying to ask you, who in your family that you know that you had to go? I could look up the oldest goddamn white person in this country, and they parent, and they that white person ain't older than somebody you know in your family, and that person could say, "Oh, my family, oh my grandma, my granddad, they migrated over here. They from Italy, they from Rome, they from Europe." All right, so if you could get if that person said that, and you can find a person in your family that's the same age as that, why nobody in your family told you we from Africa? No, what I'm saying is you should have some kind of birthright over there in Africa, right? Why don't the Native Black Americans don't have that right? Because we ain't African. All right then. So why the hell a motherfucker? Why do people believe when the crackers say they found her son? What? See, here we go again. No, I'm talking about founder what? That's what they say. They're the founder of this country. How could you be a founder of something? No, and I'm saying what I'm saying is what we listening to is how could people sit out and keep on spurring out half of the truth? Just let your white people know that y'all from Ireland and y'all from this and that, and just let them know that y'all immigrants, y'all migrants, y'all whatever the fuck they call it, that refugees, y'all all that shit in one. Y'all just switch the names up so y'all can confuse the people. You know what I'm saying? We the only people that can't be. We it ain't no way we can finding ourselves. Like I say, my uncle, and my daddy, 75 years old. Yeah. I met my granddaddy at 100 and something years old. Yeah. And then one of these motherfuckers told me we got to go to Africa to go bury my mama. Yeah. His mama, that mama. So how the fuck does this add up? And all I'm saying is, white people, y'all know y'all Europeans. Y'all know that. So if y'all European, y'all descendants of Europe, that make y'all migrants. And if you a migrant, that make you a refugee. If you're a refugee, that make you a what the other thing they call them other people? Immigrants.
Hey, and I got one thing to add. Stop trying to make us say that shit. Cause that ain't us. See,
Caucasians, y'all should say y'all European Americans. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all Caucasian Americans. Whatever you want to put it. I'm Italian American. See, we can't do that. We ain't ain't got no, we only American. We ain't got nothing else to add on to our shit. An African who were born here, they know their parents, they know they lineage. They'll tell you that's why they're African American, because they were born over here, but their parents or their great grandparents was from somewhere else, and that's why they consider them as African Americans. A Spanish person could tell you the same shit. This is why they blah this X, Y, and Z. A Haitian could tell you that's why they're Haitian American. No matter what, how y'all put this, I never met a black motherfucker that sit here and can explain to me why they call themselves an African American. How the fuck? Because somebody told you this? When y'all got a history book that tell y'all that they only said there was a black Wall Street, Mississippi burning, all this stuff. Y'all think this shit just happened? No, this happened when these Caucasians came and tried to, and no, they did. I ain't gonna say try. When they came and conquered
and took this land.
Actually, they conquered this land.
Cause you ain't get nothing.
See, but they couldn't kill history because they thought America was one piece of a sudden. You couldn't kill the whole land. It's just like when they want to take over Ethiopia or something. You get what I'm saying? They didn't realize that it was so many Ethiopians, you know what I'm saying, black folks out there. Only place you see they conquered was like Haiti and Jamaica. Not conquered, but got a controlment over it because it's an island. But a country, they can't. Y'all gotta make me understand this shit. Make me understand this shit. What he talking about? Founded. How could you found something that was never lost? I thought you only find shit when it's lost. Like I might be wrong. I might not know the definition of founder. Cause if I find something, that means it was lost. Cause I ain't created it. I didn't create it. I founded this. Found means it was lost and I found it.
They found her something all right. Killed the damn people off that was there and took some.
No, they didn't hide. They didn't kill nobody off of nothing. They couldn't kill every person. See, the history is still got to see. I'm telling you.
Well, let me just put this in the correct way. They sickened a lot of the people that was really here because I read that they carried a lot of disease.
They couldn't sicken them. They only could sicken. See, y'all spreading this around the whole America. They only had this one position. They didn't know it was. They didn't know it was a whole world, a whole state, other states and all. They didn't know that until they start traveling around.
So let me ask you something. When they lied and said that they killed off all the so-called quote-unquote Indians that was on the land, what do you think they meant by they killed off a lot of them?
They never killed off nobody. That's the story they told y'all. It's no such thing as no fucking Indian. I keep telling y'all, if you listen to what the fuck.
We know that.
Oh my God. So why you asking me that? So if I'm telling you, if they say, if a black person, if the cone gets stuck in your head, the pin gets stuck in your head, you lose your rights of being an Indian. So how the fuck you could kill somebody that you telling them you can lose? So you can't lose. No, you ain't getting what I'm saying. Because they wouldn't make sense when you ask me that question. If you could lose something, that means you had to have it. You can't lose something that you don't have.
Listen to me.
Man, this shit here.
If land was
I
down.
I swear this shit don't make sense.
You talk too much and you want to know every damn thing.
Because I research.
I don't have the answers and you don't need them.
Yeah, I do because I research it. D. Cracker said, if you put the pencil in your head and
I hate talking to you about that.
Because you don't want to listen. Because you asking me dumb ass questions.
I'm asking you a question.
If you listen to what I'm telling you.
You said there wasn't no people there. But if it was land there, it was people there.
All right, then. Fuck it. I guess you don't get what I'm saying.
In order for them to steal something, it had to be some people there.
It was black fucking person, people that's already there. What did you not hear?
But what happened to them?
They still here. What you mean what happened to them? You still fucking here. Why don't you tell me a person you know that told you, let's go to Africa and go meet Auntie Lucille? How come you can't do that? asking it?
I'm not asking.
So where the fuck you came from? So you just dropped here. So what the fuck you asking me the question for? Who the fuck was here? No. Why is you asking me that? Because y'all question everything that's the truth. Y'all question this shit.
So you saying they
oh
kill
my
all
God.
those people that was on the land?
The land is not the whole continent of America. Land could have been Mississippi. Man, land could have been whatever. What I'm asking you is, why can't you niggas, ain't none of you niggas that go against what I'm telling you, actually y'all, can't never answer that question. Y'all keep bringing up these fucking Indians. Why y'all can't answer my question? Why the fuck y'all don't know nobody else? Just like the crackers know they got people in England, they got people in Ireland, they know they got people descendants over there. Where's y'all fucking descendants? Other than what they told you. Because you know they know that they got descendants over there. Because their grandma, their great grandma is buried the fuck over there, deader than a doorknob. Everybody that told you, man, everybody that told you about your people, they here. An African gonna tell you that they only go a limit. Oh, I don't know my mama. I don't know my daddy. I don't know nothing about my history. They'll say shit like this. This is what I'm trying to tell you. You can't say that. I'm 48 years old. I can't say that. And I know my mama, I know my great grandma, I know my mama's side, and I know my daddy's side. And now one of these motherfuckers told me we going to Africa.
Never did.
I don't understand how that's so hard for y'all to understand.
We visited people.
I don't understand how hard that is to understand. If they had
we ain't never go to visit nobody in Africa.
If they had a pencil test that says if I put this comb in your hair and it slides through, you gain the right of being an Indian. And if it gets stuck in your fucking head, that means you lose your right. You can't lose something that you ain't never had if that's so-called what they're saying. And you can't gain something that you ain't. But y'all allow these crackers to tell y'all this shit. Y'all accept this shit because y'all don't got to understand. Y'all won't open y'all mind to the understanding to common sense. It's called common sense. It's called common sense. It's called common sense. I don't understand how y'all don't understand common sense, but everybody's smart.
First of all,
man, I don't want to hear first of all, second of all, third of all. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Explain to me how they had a fucking.
You need to calm down.
No. Fuck coming down. That's the problem. I'm always doing this calm down. Because when I say this, when I talk about this shit, motherfuckers want to tell me to calm down. But crackers can say the shit that they saying out their mouth right now on YouTube, and ain't nobody in that crowd said, calm down. Ain't nobody told this cracker to calm down. When this cracker talk about...
we're sitting right here.
No, because I don't think y'all hear. That's what's wrong with niggas. You got to scream to niggas because niggas don't hear.
Giving me a bloody headache.
Man, look at you. All right, then let me get off this, man, because I swear it's like
you're screaming and we're sitting right next to each other.
No. Let's let the cracker tell it. Let's let the cracker. And then that's another thing. This cracker here keep talking about black and brown. Ain't no such thing as a fucking brown person. We the brown fucking people. Why they keep on trying to make this like a color thing? Nigga, ain't now Mexican we saw that was brown. These motherfuckers whiter than them. Just as white as them. Why they keep tricking these words? You gotta listen to these fucking words these crackers be saying. This shit be pissing me off, boy. Black and brown. Ain't no, man, Mexicans ain't no fucking brown people. They fucking Mexicans. But we accept this shit. Nobody don't want to step up and tell this cracker. Nigga, a Mexican ain't brown. Motherfucker, do you see the fucking color on my motherfucking skin? Nigga, ain't no such thing as a black motherfucker unless you go to Africa or Ethiopia.
I'm brown.
Because I'm brown. So if I'm brown, how the fuck I can stand next to a Mexican and that motherfucker brown too?
Ain't no way.
But we listen, we allow these crackers to say these words. Man, fuck these crackers and fuck the boat that they came in on. And that's just how it is. And that's just how it is, man. If nigga don't like it, they don't like it. Fuck them.
You wouldn't ask one question about why this movement is necessary and why it's righteous if you knew that history, but you don't know it and it's not your fault. You weren't supposed to know it and nobody taught it to you.
Right? Cracker, nobody ain't teach the history to you. But you spurring out shit and saying shit. All right, some of this shit makes sense and it opens up a lot of little shit. But when you said founder, you fucked me up. Because how could you found something that you ain't even from? That means you came to. And the only way black folks gonna be able to take charge of our country if black folks stop letting these crackers keep on spurring out these words they keep saying. Because words ain't about shit. I'm the founder. Oh, black and brown. Mexicans ain't fucking brown. These motherfuckers white. So all these words, it sounds stupid to me. I can look in the fucking mirror. I can turn on this camera and I can see what the fuck brown look like. Because I'm fucking brown. And I see the little panchos and flacos and goddamn spicks sitting right there, and I can look at them and they fucking white. It don't look brown to me. What, they light brown? What they tan? What they you a motherfucking lie? They white.
Some of them be tan.
All right, they red. All right, kill all that. They red.
Some of them look white.
Man, they
some
red.
Of them look like
that's because they paid me kick back in from off the dick that a black motherfucker had. They had took from a black motherfucker when they sat there and sodomized a fucking black woman. No, that shit happens like that. Or they had their daughter fuck that black African slave. Yeah, that's how that shit happened. And it created a fucking Chinese. And it created a motherfucking Mexican. It created a fucking Puerto Rican. That's why all these motherfuckers can have, every other country can have a black motherfucking baby. But you ain't seen too many black motherfuckers that can have a white baby.
But I tell you one thing I noticed though.
Man, you ain't even noticed nothing.
Hey, them Spanish people, their children get dogs.
Because
they mix.
I just explained to you. All right then. But find two Native Black Americans and find a fucking any kind of white child in their motherfucking household.
Okay. Even black and white don't make black children. They don't.
Man, yeah, they do.
They make white looking kids, but not no black.
And later on, that white child, that white looking child could go with a motherfucking another white person and have a fucking black child.
The white person.
Oh, see, you lost.
I mean, that mixed child can go and have sex with a real black person and have a black baby. But other than that, them mixed kids do not come out looking.
You ain't listening to what
nowhere near.
All right, you ain't listening to what I'm trying to tell you, man.
But a Mexican can make a black child. A Mexican can. Just two Mexicans can make a black child.
Because their genes is starting to group back up. And y'all, I don't, you know, like I say, listen.
So you don't have to know that modern policing traces back to slave patrols. That black folks' first experience with law enforcement was having, you know who? Working class and poor white folks on horseback going around keeping black.
What is that? Poor white folks. Yeah. See, because you niggas lived on fear. You niggas lived on fear. See, y'all got to separate when they used to talk about they used to catch the runaway slaves. Listen. So it had to be a separate of these black folks, right? Mm-hmm. So what is he talking about? Why would you need the police if all the slaves, if everybody, all the black folks were slaves? Because you know why? You had to round up Native Americans.
When I came up, my grandparents were no slaves.
Folks in line on behalf of the rich master that don't own the property. That sounds a lot like modern policing, because ain't no rich people policing, right?
right? It's working class folks who are out there protecting the property of rich people against the depredations of poor people. That's what modern policing is, and it traces back. And we know that's what modern policing is, by the way, because we will lock you up for 10 years for $100 worth of food stamp fraud. But if you take $12.5 trillion on Wall Street, 20% of the net worth of this country, you will not do 1 day in jail.
I explain that word.
No, that's true.
But you know what happened to an African? They'll get
slave.
No, they'll get deported.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how Native Black Americans don't understand that you niggas here go to jail for the same crime that a Haitian go through the jail for, and they get deported. Y'all go through the same crime that a Mexican go to jail for, and they get deported. Why you niggas ain't get deported back to Africa since y'all such an African Americans?
That do make sense.
I don't understand that. Why y'all ain't going back to Africa then?
So we know that law enforcement has got nothing to do with enforcing the law. It's got nothing to do with good people and bad people, lawbreakers and the law abiding. It only has to do with controlling certain people. And black and brown folks know who those certain people usually are because it's always been them. See, black folks know that it was cops who were involved in...
Because you know how fast they would have shipped black people back to Africa if that was true? You'd have been... The first time you committed a crime, you would have been gone. You would have been gone.
See, they ain't got nowhere to send you at.
Even Haitian Americans, they shipped them back to their country.
And they ain't never did a day in Haiti.
But they shipped them back. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, why they don't ship you niggas back to Africa? See, they want y'all to say y'all African Americans. They want y'all to say y'all African descendants. So they can send your monkey ass to a country you ain't gonna have a deep cousin, a deep grand auntie, or nothing to go when you go over there. Ship me to Miami. If I'm in Alabama and I catch a charge and you want to deport me back to Miami. That's the only place you can deport me to. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Race riots and racial terrorism against black communities for the first 50 years of the 20th century. You didn't learn about that in class either, and that's not your fault. It wasn't taught. But in fact, every single year, just about from 1900 all the way to the 1930s, 1940s at least, there were race riots where white folks would just go into black communities, burn them to the ground, bomb them from the air.
See, but I thought black folks were slaves. How the fuck y'all got communities then? Common sense. Do you hear what this cracker saying? So how do y'all have a black Wall Street? Before it was a regular Wall Street. If y'all were slaves. So you telling me all the slaves came over here first, and then they did their ones or two, and then all of a sudden the crackers following them over here? Come on, man. They gotta tighten up. Let's listen to the cracker say this one more time. Listen.
Do with controlling certain people. And black and brown folks know who those certain people usually are because it's always been them. See, black folks know that it was cops who were involved in race riots and racial terrorism against black communities for the first 50 years of the 20th century. You didn't learn about that in class either, and that's not your fault. It wasn't taught. But in fact, every single year, just about from 1900 all the way to the 1930s, 1940s at least, there were race riots where white folks would just go into black communities, burn them to the ground, bomb them from the air like in Tulsa, Oklahoma, rip people out of their homes, beat them in the street, and police sat by, watched it happen, and participated. That doesn't mean that every cop in the modern era is like that, but it means that black folks can be excused for being not so clear on the decency of police in their communities because there's a history there. It was police who dragged black folks and white allies off of those sit-in stools at lunch counters in the South to enforce segregation. See, when job is to enforce the law and for...
So how could you have segregation if y'all so-called were slaves and y'all so-called from Africa and they had y'all in chains and whips? Do y'all remember them stories? They say they had you in chains and how the fuck you get it? That's already segregation if that's the case. See, you gotta listen to what these crackers say. You got to listen to what they come out their mouth with. Cause I told y'all one thing about a cracker gonna tell everything. You get what I'm saying? A cracker gonna tell everything that you thought you didn't know that you realized that really happened. These crackers gonna confirm every time. How could I the fuck? You was in chains and shackles, getting whipped on your back. But I got a granddaddy that was 120 some years old, and he ain't got nail whip on his back. All these niggas, all they call themselves, and yeah, I messed around and went and sharecropped with these white folks. Thought I was helping out. Come on, man. Be for real. Listen to what this cracker say, though.
Burn them to the ground, bomb them from the air like in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Rip people up.
This is what they did.
Know that law enforcement has got nothing to do with enforcing the law. It's got nothing to do with good people and bad people, lawbreakers and the law abiding. It only has to do with controlling certain people. And black and brown folks know who those certain people usually are because it's always been them. See, black folks know that it was cops who were involved in race riots and racial terrorism against black communities for the first 50 years of the 20th century. You didn't learn about that in class either, and that's not your fault. It wasn't taught. But in fact, every single year, just about from 1900 all the way to the 1930s, 1940s at least, there were race riots where white folks would just go into black communities, burn them to the ground, bomb them from the air like in Tulsa, Oklahoma, rip people out of their homes, beat them in the street, and police sat by, watched it happen, and participated. That doesn't mean that every cop in the modern era is like that, but it means that black folks can be excused for being not so clear on the decency of police in their communities because there's a history there. It was police who dragged black folks and white allies off of those sit-in stools at lunch counters in the South to enforce segregation. See, when your job is to enforce the law, and for most of American history, the law was against you as a people, then enforcing the law means you are the first line of oppression. People of color know that history and need to be excused when they don't just get over it because that continues. How do we know it continues? Very easy. We know from the data on racial profiling that black folks are twice as likely as white folks to be stopped and searched for drugs, even though white folks are more likely to have drugs on us on the occasions that we're searched. What?
Big fact. Big fact. Now I get it, cracker, when he's right. You get what I'm saying? It's just we get caught going to bring them the dope. See, that's our problem. You get what I'm saying? We get caught going to bring them the dope. You get what I'm saying? But they brought the dope here. Y'all don't want to listen. Y'all too sensitive. Y'all too sensitive on this out here in this so-called world we call America. Y'all too sensitive. Y'all don't want to understand the truth. But I'm gonna let the white man keep saying what he's saying. Because he's telling y'all something that y'all act like y'all don't comprehend. Oh, nah, Jerome, he was, no. All right, Jerome just went and sold to a white man. That white man pulled up, and that black man still got pulled over. Well, ain't no racism. Man, fuck that. It's racism. Oh, no, we could be friends with white folks. Man, fuck that. White folks don't want to be y'all nigga friend. They actually want to continue on conquering this world, and they want to less educate your ass where you don't understand nothing. They want to install a history that they want you to know.
What are you down?
They want to install a history that, and it's called fear. I don't understand how niggas could kill niggas, but niggas, yeah.
White folks use drugs and sell drugs at the same or higher rate than black folks and Latinos, and yet it is black folks and Latinos who in any given year make up 85 to 90% of the people who get arrested and incarcerated for a drug offense. See, people of color know that. And if we don't understand when black folks rise up and say Black Lives Matter. Well, what do you mean, Black Lives Matter?
All lives matter. That's what everybody, all lives matter.
Yes, they do. And that is a totally irrelevant and unnecessary point to make. You see, you don't have to say all lives matter. We take that for granted. What we've never accepted in this country is that black and brown life matter. You have to proclaim that which is ignored.
Now, look. Like, if he ain't talking about a brown person that look like me, and he talking about black people that look darker than me, I feel like in real time and real space in our country, because we the only one we the only one got a lineage here. You get what I'm saying? No, we got to stress that we need to cut this image of what they had. They put the white Jesus out there.
Mm-hmm.
We got to cut this out.
Cause baby, let me tell you what a white lady told me.
We got to cut this out.
She said, "I wonder how white people gonna handle it when they find out that God is not white."
That's what I'm saying. We got to cut this shit out. We can't keep on accepting this brown, and we looking at the person and with our own two eyes, and the motherfucker red. I don't think that people understand that it's no such thing as a black person. No, it's only a brown and a red person. I just don't get it. Y'all look at yourself every day in the mirror and you call yourself black.
And we ain't black. Not me and you.
I call myself.
Now, there's some black people in the world. There's some black people.
I call myself a Native American.
There's some deep black people.
No, I call myself a Native American.
But we ain't.
Listen to what I'm saying. I call myself a Native American. See, white people call themselves white when they ain't white. That ain't white. That's red.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you see? It's just confusing to me.
That's why we have Black History Month right now, and not White History Month. We don't have to have White History.
Now, hold on. He just hit a spot. Now, what I said, all right, not talking about nobody or nothing. When I went to Mackie situation, right before we fell out, the time we fell out, I asked them a question. How come there's a Black History Month and we don't have a White History Month? You remember somebody told me? Because white history is all every day.
Shit, Black history is every day.
All right. Listen to what he just said. Listen, he just made the same point that I was making.
Eyes up and say Black Lives Matter. Well, what do you mean, Black? Blah, blah. All lives matter. Yes, sweetheart. I know they do. Yes, they do. And that is a totally irrelevant and unnecessary point to make. You see, you don't have to say all lives matter. We take that for granted. What we've never accepted in this country is that Black and brown life matter. You have to proclaim that which is ignored, you see? That's why we have Black History Month right now and not White History Month. We don't have to have White History Month because we got May and June and July and August. And every other month where we learn about white folks.
That's what a nigga told me. That's exactly what a nigga told me. But you can have a Hispanic month, you can have, week or day, flag day, or whatever the fuck they call that shit. But you telling me in my own country, I got a month to be black? When cracker, you could be a cracker all the time? Come on.
One bloody month.
Nah, I don't need no month. Nah, cracker, let's talk about your history. Let's talk about your history. Cause see one thing about a cracker don't want you to talk about their shit. Cause you know what they're gonna tell you? That wasn't me. That was my great granddaddy. That was my great grandmama.
And not trying to bring nothing up. Black people fought for June 19th.
It ain't no such thing.
Listen to what I got to say.
Man, this shit's stupid.
But that was only one day.
Yeah, that was
and then, but not bringing nothing up, the LGBTQ, they get a month.
Man, you saying something that don't even register nothing. You talking about a June 19th. You know what happened on June fucking 19th? Do you actually know what happened on June 19th?
But that's only one day.
Do you? Why the fuck you niggas accept that shit? That's what I don't get. the word Caucasian means descendant of fucking Europe. So they should have a flag day, just like every other fucking immigrant here, just like any migrant here. So why do y'all stoop y'all mind so low to go to just June 19th?
Because that's the
See, no. They gave y'all. Why you niggas talk about what they gave y'all?
That's what they do. They give us everything. They just give us.
The word
we don't do nothing on our
the
own.
word Caucasian means descendant of fucking Europe. That means they're not of this country. So how do y'all accept in y'all mind that somebody, if y'all, all right, it should be a Mexican president. It should be a Chinese president here. It should be, but you can't do that in their fucking country. The country they have a whole country that's dedicated to them. And you niggas cannot go over there and be nothing. Mm-hmm. But y'all allow a motherfucker who could bleed just like you, a motherfucker who could die just like you. Y'all allow them to give you something. Mm-hmm. And see, and that's the problem I have. That's the problem I have. And that's a part of what I'm trying to get out here. Why you niggas need somebody to give y'all something? Why? You niggas could do this shit on your own. They got y'all so fucked up in the head. You niggas could do this shit on your own. You niggas know how to rob. You niggas know how to kill. You niggas know how to go build houses. You niggas know how to do plumbing. You niggas know how to raise animals, pit bulls, and all this shit. Y'all still need a motherfucking Caucasian, descendant of Europe, to tell you what the fuck to do. To give you something. I just can't get that. I can't wrap that shit in my mind. I can't, that's something I can't put in my mind. How do the fuck that you niggas know how to do all this shit, but you niggas need a cracker to tell y'all what the fuck to do? Instead of y'all, I don't want to do that on YouTube, but instead of us standing together as one, we outrule the masses. We don't need these motherfuckers. They could take their nice yachts and they could take their nice plane and haul that. We don't go nowhere farther than this continent. We have our own army. We have all this shit. And we allow something that's named a Caucasian, that's a descendant of Europe. That means it's just no different than a Mexican, no different than a Haitian, no different than a Jamaican. It's a migrant. We have a migrant standing over. When in the Constitution it says no person should be president or no law official or governor of this country unless they have birthrights here. Why y'all don't stand on that? Why we keep finding all these excuses to say the white man, the white man? Why we always saying hush, hush? Why we ain't saying, man, fuck them, just like we say fuck Jerome, just like we say fuck this nigga, that nigga? Why is we so scared? I just don't get it. I don't understand how we just this scared of a man. A man. a man. We scared of a fucking man. We just scared of a fucking man. A fucking man. We scared of a fucking skin tone. Maybe I'm just dumb.
Folks, you don't have to call it that. See how slick that is? That's how white supremacy operates. You don't have to
Well, let's get back.
Claim that which is ignored, you see? That's why we have Black History Month right now and not White History Month. We don't have to have White History Month because we got May and June and July and August. And every other month where we learn about white folks, we don't have to call it that. See how slick that is? That's how white supremacy operates. You don't have to call it White History Month. You just call it history, literature, and theater, and poetry, and art. You don't have to racialize where it came from, right? That's what Molefi Asante at Temple calls universalizing the particular, which is the hallmark of Eurocentric thought, right? Not everybody's experience.
What is that? Europe. Nobody don't want to listen.
Experience is the same. And so when certain people have been left out of all, you have to call that out by name. Because we've always said all, and we didn't mean it. We said all men are created equal, and we didn't mean that shit. Right? We didn't mean women, but we didn't even mean all men. We said all, and it was a lie when we said it, right? And so in a sense, when you say Black Lives Matter, to respond with all lives matter would be like going in a time machine back to 1971. Y'all won't remember this. Those who were students, those who were older will. Around 1970, 71, 72, the big phrase was Black is beautiful, right? There was this desire to take back the beauty narrative from a beauty industry, fashion industry, glamour industry that had hijacked it and denigrated Black physicality and beauty, right? So folks were saying Black is beautiful to reclaim a sense of beauty for themselves. It'd be like getting in a time machine, going back to 1971, hearing somebody say Black is beautiful and tapping them on the shoulder and going, but we're all beautiful in our own way. Yeah, shut up, we know. Not the point. It'd be like going back to the early 80s when the HIV/AIDS crisis started. And it took several years for the president of the United States to even utter the word. Ronald Reagan didn't want to even utter the word, let alone cut loose with funding to deal with the problem until his buddy Rock Hudson died of it. And then all of a sudden he was willing to talk about it a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So for the first several years, what you had activists out in the street, you had ACT UP, Gay Men's Health Crisis, out in the street demanding research and funding for HIV/AIDS, right? And what they were saying in effect was people with AIDS lives matter. That wasn't the actual phrase, and we didn't have hashtags, but that was essentially what they were saying, right? People with AIDS lives matter, and we need to pay attention because right now we're not paying attention to that. And we don't seem to believe it as a society, so we need to start believing it. It would be like getting in a time machine, going back to 1983, 82, in the middle of an ACT UP event or a Gay Men's Health Crisis event and shutting down the protest by saying, yeah, but what about pancreatic cancer? People die of all kinds of things, right? Sort of not the point. You have to proclaim that which is ignored. And if we know the history, we understand that, right? Because if we know the history, we know that it is indeed Black life. And I would suggest brown life, life of color generally, indigenous life, that is usually denigrated, demeaned, ignored. On a sexual level, it's trans lives that are demeaned, ignored, right? It's women as women. So sometimes you got to proclaim that which is not in the obvious frame of reference. There's nothing pernicious about it. It's not about saying Black lives are worth more than other lives. It's about, damn it, these lives actually do matter. And even though the history says they don't, we're here to tell you that they do. And there's nothing wrong about that at all. But if you don't know the history, it might seem untoward. And I get it. And again, it's not your fault that you don't know the history, but it is our responsibility to learn it and then apply it to what we see. Same is true with immigration. This immigration drama that we have right now is only possible because we don't understand our own history. As a country, and particularly those of us of European descent, we have lied.
God damn it. God damn it. Oh,
to ourselves about how we got here.
Oh my God.
And for what reason?
My.
Black folks.
Oh my.
And drop the mic. drop the bloody. But when you heard that he said brown people, he said indigenous what people?
Like I said. No, Listen what he said. Listen what he said. They got to remember how they.
You don't know the history. It might seem untoward.
Listen.
And I get it.
Listen.
And again, it's not your fault that you don't know the history, but it is our responsibility.
Everything I've been saying.
And then apply it to what we see.
Can you drop a link to the information you're listening to? I'll try. Let me see.
Indigenous. He said indigenous people. Ain't that something?
It ain't even. Like I said, it ain't even about the indigenous.
And he didn't.
What I'm saying to you is, you heard what he said. Hold on, Troop. Let me find it.
Now that's a word you don't hear too often. That's a word you don't hear too often. We're the natives of this land.
But nobody don't want to hear me though. Nobody don't want to hear me though. Oh, I ain't know. My bad. I can't pin it right now. But that's the link. That's the link right there. I just make it what you call it.
The same is true with immigration. This immigration drama that we have right now is only possible because we don't understand our own history. As a country, and particularly those of us of European descent, we have lied to ourselves about how we got here.
He just said, I just looked up what indigenous means. Originating or occurring naturally in a particular place. Native.
I keep saying it, but y'all, now you see why it make me frustrated. Let's do something real quick before we go on a little farther. Because I don't think y'all be getting what I be trying to do and say to y'all and trying to explain to y'all. Man, I ain't just telling y'all some bullshit that I'm just making up. I'm not doing that, man. I ain't doing that. Man. We go.
Listen, this is what it says.
It's
or existing in a land from the earliest times or from before the arrival of colonizers. Ain't that something? That man said.
What you mean? Ain't that something? I've been telling y'all that. Nobody don't want to listen to me.
Indigenous.
Let's take a little break, y'all, before we go any farther.
Ooh, he just gave up. I know they ain't like what he just said. Just see.
Touch it, don't stop. Touch it, anybody come to me. Touch it, you know what I'm supposed to do. Touch it, I really wanna put my hands on it. Touch it, feeling the privacy. Touch it, anybody come to me. Touch it, let me know what it's supposed to do. Touch it, cause you make me wanna put my hands on it. That is cool, and I'll hit it back, yeah. Wanna put, I got couple things, sometimes I need but it's who I want. Mornings and Fridays, tell you who was it, they just keep fucking for status. I don't want nobody, but baby, I need the baddest. As soon as I see you, the vibes automatic. A little more fast than I'm used to. Gotta throw a couple $1,000. I've been moving like a number one fan. All I really wanna know now is tonight. Touch it, tell me what your policy. Touch it, anybody come to me.
Like I say, man, that shit. Y'all can do what you gonna do. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, if y'all don't want to listen to me, y'all can listen to the white man tell y'all how the shit went, man, and how the shit going down.
There's just some other guy that you rather be on. Stay with me for another song. Always invited to tell you who was it. They just be fucking for status. I don't want nobody, baby. I need the baddest. As soon as I see you, the one automatic. I already chose you. Pour another shot of that liquor. Make a toast. Then we'll be living together like we're supposed to. And every minute that we're together, getting close to you. Touch it. Touch my seat. Touch it. Anybody come to me. Touch it. Touch me, know what's supposed to do. Touch it. I really want to put my hands all over you. Touch you. Touch it. Touch it. You don't need no pride.
Yeah, Unexpected is back, y'all.
Touch it. Anybody come to me.
Censor. That nigga ain't stopping.
Touch me, know what's supposed to do.
Fuck it, man. Yeah, man.
Make me wanna put my hands all over you. I hear your body. I hear your body talking. I hear your body. I hear your body talking. I hear your body. I hear your body talking. I hear your body. I hear your body talking. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Touch it. Touch it. Touch it. Touch privacy. Touch it. Touch it. Anybody calling me. Touch it. Touch it. Touch me. Know what's supposed to do. Touch it. Touch it.
48 hours. 48 hours, nigga. 48 hours, nigga.
Touch it. Touch it.
48 hours, nigga. 48 hours, nigga. 48 hours, nigga. 48 hours, nigga. Like I say, y'all, man, it's time to get back to the truth, man. I done start realizing, man, talking to y'all niggas, man, it's like, man, y'all niggas too sensitive. So, you know what I'm saying? Fuck that sensitive shit, man. The truth hurts. I know that shit hurt. Come on, why I sit here, y'all here argue with me. And then,
I ain't arguing with
no,
you.
I'm saying,
lower your voice.
No, I can't
You be
lower
raising
my voice.
your blood pressure up, and
I don't got no
scared
blood
you
pressure.
might hurt yourself.
Nah, I ain't got no blood pressure. I ain't no average nigga. Nah, I ain't no average nigga. Listen to what I'm telling you. The way I talk. Nah, that's how nigga always roll. I'm like a lion. Nah, I'm like a lion. Nah, I'm always aggressive. Nah, I roar. I'm a lion. I roar. Ain't no blood pressure. I ain't getting uptight by. Nah, I roar. But y'all, since I can't roar, let that cracker tell it.
This immigration drama that we have right now is only possible because we don't understand our own history. As a country, and particularly those of us of European descent, we have lied to ourselves.
Man, that's just. like I said, boy, look here. A nigga can't tell me everything I've been saying.
And I'm glad
is a motherfucking
said
lie.
that, because they love to tell you, go back. If you don't like it, go back where you.
It ain't even in the point. That what I'm telling y'all that Caucasian has a word. It means something. And nobody don't want to understand what the fuck I'm saying. I could disrespect these crackers. Fuck these crackers. Because these crackers is migrants, just like we disrespect Mexicans, just like we disrespect Haitians, just like we disrespect Jamaicans, just like what they do to us in their country, I could do to them. And I don't see how niggas get offended by it. I just don't see it. I just don't get it. Me personally, I just don't get it. How you go to their country and they can call you a nigga or whatever the fuck they call you, your monkey, and people get offended when I say cracker. Man, fuck these hunkies. You get what I'm saying? Cause I look at them no different than a Mexican. I look at them no different than a Haitian. I look at them no different than a Jamaican. Man, these all migrants, immigrants. I'm talking about motherfuckers who pussies that they ain't stay in their countries. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. Fuck how motherfucker. Take it. Let's listen to it though.
Says they don't. We're here to tell you that they do. And there's nothing wrong about that at all. But if you don't know the history, it might seem untoward. And I get it. And again, it's not your fault that you don't know the history, but it is our responsibility to learn it and then apply it to what we see. Same is true with immigration. This immigration drama that we have right now is only possible because we don't understand our own history.
Speak it.
As a country, and particularly those of us of European descent, we have lied to ourselves about how we got here. And for what reason. So Black folks know why they're here.
Yeah.
Native peoples know why they're here.
We are the native black folks.
A lot of Asian folk know, particularly if they're Chinese American, they know they got here because their ancestors were brought over to work on the railroads by the railroad barons who didn't care if thousands of them died laying track 19, 20 hours a day. But for those of us who are from Europe, we have this fiction that we've told, and we believe it, even though there's no truth to it. You know what the fiction is? It's two parts. Number one, we say things like, with regard to Mexicans coming over the border, with regard to immigrants coming over, but only that border. That's the only one we care about, right? The southern border. I find that interesting. We're not flipping out about Canada, right? We don't have any of the Minutemen or the anti-immigrant groups sitting off the coast of Nova Scotia with a gun and a scope trying to like pick off the sneaky Canadians that are trying to sneak in here for our superior healthcare system, which after all would be a pretty stupid thing to do. But in any event, we only care about that one border, forgetting for a minute that that border was created at the end of a war that was started on false pretense by this country, after which we jacked half of their country. And you weren't taught that in school either, because our history books aren't interested in telling the truth. They tell this very patriotic history that has no relationship to the fact. So that border is artificial. Mexican folk who are coming here, documented or not, let's be clear, are coming home. Their families were here before our families were here in almost every instance. But we forget that, and then we say things like, well, I don't mind them coming. I just want them to come legally like my people did. The hell is that even?
See, now you get what I'm be trying to say? How did you get here legally?
Cool.
He just said, the white folks say, I just want them to come legally like my people did. So what that make them? If they call immigrants, what that make you? All right, stop.
We natives.
No,
we natives.
You ain't getting what I'm just trying to ask you.
We indigenous.
You ain't getting what I'm asking.
We already was here.
Man, let's hear this shit.
Right?
Let's hear this one more time. You ain't listening to what I'm saying.
Even though there's no truth to it. You know what the fiction is? It's two parts. Number one, we say things like, with regard to Mexicans coming over the border, with regard to immigrants, but only that border. That's the only one we care about, right? The southern border. I find that interesting. We're not flipping out about Canada, right? We don't have any of the Minutemen or the anti-immigrant groups sitting off the coast of Nova Scotia with a gun and a scope trying to like pick off the sneaky Canadians that are trying to sneak in here for our superior healthcare system.
And another thing, don't you niggas know that you so-called want to be African Americans? Why do y'all need a passport to get to Africa? Huh? Why?
If we came from there, why we need a passport?
Why don't Caucasians have passports to go to Europe and stuff? Y'all don't never ask these questions. You get what I'm saying? If you such of an African American, why do you need a passport to go back to Africa?
Baby.
I can understand going to Europe, you need a passport. I can understand going to China, you need a passport. But why do you black people, if y'all so-called African American, why do y'all need a passport to go back to Africa?
Baby.
Why don't y'all have visas to be here?
All this stuff is making me feel
I know it is. The truth always be that way. Let me see. This was at University by a professor. Telling why immigration speech. And that's what I'm saying. I don't get it. I just don't get it how Native Black Americans don't understand this question. Why don't y'all need a goddamn passport to go back to Africa? Why y'all need a passport to go to Africa? If y'all are such African Americans. I just don't get it. Because all the African got to do is commit a crime here. And they get a free pass back to Africa. How many times you niggas went to jail? Or y'all know somebody that went to jail and they ain't never got deported and said they going back to Africa? I'm finna deport you back to Africa. Y'all don't never question that shit. Y'all don't never really want to know who the Native Americans is in this country? Or do y'all also just want to hear the history? Y'all want to believe the history that they tell y'all? Like common sense is common sense. You get what I'm saying? If this, fuck that, I'm gonna say what I'm saying. Fuck that, it's uncensored. If this cracker could tell y'all all white folks is European descendants, they have a place where they descended from. How come you niggas don't? Cause y'all niggas ain't had nowhere else to go. This the only place you niggas was at. This is the only place where you from. This is the only place your generation is from. Do y'all understand that if it was a thing called slavery, it was a date on that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, so it was a date. It was a date on that. It was a date on that. There's a date that tells you when they brought slaves here. It was a date when they told y'all Caucasians came over here. It was a date that they told y'all Mexicans started migrating over here. It was a date when they told y'all Haitians started migrating over here. It's a date on all this shit. Where's y'all date at, you black Native Americans? Where y'all date at? See, I know the truth hurt, but the truth got to be spoken. And I'm tired of sitting back and keeping my content locked in. If you rock with me, you rock with me. If you don't, hey, man, I can't do nothing about that. But let's play this.
Saying black lives are worth more than other lives. It's about, damn it, these lives actually do matter. And even though the history says they don't, we're here to tell you that they do. And there's nothing wrong about that at all. But if you don't know the history, it might seem untoward. And I get it. And again, it's not your fault that you don't know the history, but it is our responsibility to learn it and then apply it to what we see. Same is true with immigration. This immigration drama that we have right now is only possible because we don't understand our own history. As a country, and particularly those of us of European descent, we have lied to ourselves about how we got.
Let's play that. Let's play that a little bit more. I'm gonna keep playing this, y'all. I like.
We're here to tell you that they did. And there's nothing wrong about that at all. But if you don't know the history, it might seem untoward. And I get it. And again, it's not your fault that you don't know the history, but it is our responsibility to learn it and then apply it to what we see. Same is true with immigration. This immigration drama that we have right now is only possible because we don't understand our own history. As a country, and particularly those of us of European descent, we have lied to ourselves about how we got here. And for what reason? See, black folks know why they're here. Native peoples know why they're here and how they got here. A lot of Asian folk know, particularly if they're Chinese American, they know they got here because their ancestors were brought over to work on the railroads by the railroad barons who didn't care if thousands died laying track 19, 20 hours a day. But for those of us who are from Europe, we have this fiction that we've told, and we believe it, even though there's no truth to it. You know what the fiction is? It's two parts. Number one, we say things like, with regard to Mexicans coming over the border, with regard to immigrants coming over, but only that border. That's the only one we care about, right? The southern border. I find that interesting. We're not flipping out about Canada, right? We don't have any of the Minutemen or the anti-immigrant groups sitting off the coast of Nova Scotia with a gun and a scope trying to like pick off the sneaky Canadians that are trying to sneak in here for our superior healthcare system, which after all would be a pretty stupid thing to do. But in any event, we only care about that one border, forgetting for a minute that that border was created at the end of a war that was started on false pretense by this country, after which we jacked half of their country. And you weren't taught that in school either, because our history books aren't interested in telling the truth. They tell this very patriotic history that has no relationship to the fact. So that border is artificial. Mexican folk who are coming here, documented or not, let's be clear, are coming home. Their families were here before our families were here in almost every instance. But we forget.
See, and see, I got a problem with when he say something like that when they coming home. They are not coming home. Yeah, they actually is coming home, but they're not coming home for the they ain't got the mindset, and they've been tricked and bamboozled to think that they Mexicans. They don't want to understand that they are black. You get what I'm saying? They are black. They were created from a white man raping a black woman. They a black woman choosing to lay down with a white man. This is how a lot of these cultures and race been created. And if y'all don't believe me, explain to me, if somebody got a rebuttal on what I'm saying, explain to me how if you go to Mexico and you go find black Mexicans when they're, how could you go to Cuba and find black Cubans when there ain't no black people there? How could you find black Asians when there ain't no black people there? Nobody can explain that answer that question to me. And I'm gonna tell y'all why, because it's only common sense. These were slave camps. Y'all don't understand that Africans wouldn't travel directly to the United States. They stopped in places. This is why you got the revolutionaries of Africa. I mean, Haiti. This is why you got the uproar in Jamaica. This is why you got the overturn in China. They was getting the colonizers from standing over them. They didn't have a country. That's why they call it an island. It was a place where they harbored people that they were dragging from Ethiopia, from Israel, from Ghana. This were places where they were bringing these people from, and they put them there. And a lot of the history that y'all be reading about and hearing about, all this rapists and stuff and all this stuff went on them islands. It didn't go on in this country. Even the like none of the World War Ones and twos and none of that shit happened over here. What they did is trick the Native Black Americans and fooled us and made us think that we were fighting for our country on the side of them, when we actually were fighting to help one Caucasian to not colonize from another Caucasian. That's the only thing we did. And when they seen we was the chosen people, that it wasn't no depth in our situation. And this what made them realize that, no, these people is more important to me alive. And you can't take over a country when you got natural born citizens here. You get what I'm saying? You just can't. See, that's why they don't tell y'all about uprising. That's why they don't want us to stick together. This is why they don't want us to build together. This is why they don't want us to do things back how it was before they got here. You get what I'm saying? They want y'all to be always mesmerized by fucking each other up, but not fucking them up. They want y'all to understand. They want y'all to believe that your eyes ain't telling you what the fuck the color brown is, and they want you to believe that a Mexican is a brown person. They want you to believe that, and y'all niggas believe it. Just like y'all believe that the Caucasians was here to help you. The Caucasians are gonna make some kind of life better for you. Y'all don't want to believe that you niggas getting mass incarcerated. You niggas don't want to believe that in y'all own country, y'all the only motherfucker can't get deported, and y'all sit here and do all this time that's unnecessary time of any crime, but they can do the same crime, and they don't get that type of time. Y'all want to believe that Epstein is dead, and Epstein ain't back on his own island. Y'all want to believe this type of stuff, everything they say. Since y'all do that, that's why I'm allowing a white man to say what he's saying. So black folks won't get so in their panties and think that I'm being some kind of type of other kind of person, which I really don't give a fuck. I am. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We got to normalize letting a Caucasian know that Caucasian have a meaning to it. We gotta normalize that if you want to be called a Mexican have a meaning to it. A Haitian got a meaning to it. A Jamaican have a meaning to it. If y'all got your own island, y'all got all this and all that and all this and your own little place that you could go back to, why stay here? Why stay here? Why stay here? All everybody do is cry. Whine. When do y'all think that the natives of this land gonna switch the switch and start treating y'all as tourists? When? Why y'all don't think that day gonna come? When we gonna start treating y'all as tourists? Back how y'all used to be treated, like tourists. You know what I'm saying? I understand that it's good Caucasians out here. I understand that it's good Haitians, Jamaicans. I understand it's all good certain races out here. But when is the black Native Americans going to want the demand and the respect the same way they want the demand and respect when you go in their country? Because Caucasians have a country. It's called Europe. When you go over Europe, you are seen as a tourist. When we going to treat these same people as tourists? A black person, a black Native American cannot be a president, a police officer, a governor, or anything inside a Europe country. So why we don't get on the same, why we don't have the same status over here? If you don't have natural born rights here, you don't have no rights here. But yet, that's not how shit going. Because we sit around and we want to play games. We want to play mind games, and we want to accept what a colonizer say to us. We accept this shit. But if you go to their country, you can't uproar. You can't have no type of fit. You can't have none of this shit in their country, where they naturally born from. They got natural born rights at. Where their great-grandparents is born at. Where their great-grandparents is buried at. Where all these people is buried at, their whole history is buried there. But we got to accept they word in our country, where our history is born at, where our history is buried at, where our history stand at, just like in so-called Africa, just like so-called Jamaica, just so-called Bahamas. All these other people got they got their own history, but we allow the Caucasians to create our history in our country. We some pussy ass motherfuckers. I ain't gonna lie. And I want to play this again.
There were thousands of them died laying track 19, 20 hours a day. But for those of us who are but it is our responsibility to learn it and then apply it to what we see. Same is true with immigration. This immigration drama that we have right now is only possible because we don't understand our own history. As a country, and particularly those of us of European descent, we have lied to ourselves about how we got here and for what reason. See, Black folks know why they're here. Native peoples know why they're here and how they got here. A lot of Asian folk know, particularly if they're Chinese American, they know they got here because their ancestors were brought over to work on the railroads by the railroad barons who didn't care if thousands of them died laying track 19, 20 hours a day. But for those of us who are from Europe, we have this fiction that we've told, and we believe it, even though there's no truth to it. You know what the fiction is? It's two parts. Number one, we say things like, with regard to Mexicans coming over the border, with regard to immigrants coming over, but only that border. That's the only one we care about, right? The southern border. I find that interesting. We're not flipping out about Canada, right? We don't have any of the Minutemen or the anti-immigrant groups sitting off the coast of Nova Scotia with a gun and a scope trying to like pick off sneaky Canadians that are trying to sneak in here for our superior healthcare system, which after all would be a pretty stupid thing to do. But in any event, we only care about that one border, forgetting for a minute that that border was created at the end of a war that was started on false pretense by this country, after which we jacked half of their country. And you weren't taught that in school either, because our history books aren't interested in telling the truth and tell this very patriotic history that has no relationship to the fact. So that border is artificial. Mexican folk who are coming here, documented or not, let's be clear, are coming home. Their families were here before our families were here in almost every instance. But we forget that, and then we say things like, well, I don't mind them coming. I just want them to come legally like my people did. The hell does that even mean? Come legally? There was no law to break when our people came. The fact that we didn't break a law that didn't even exist, you don't get cookies for that. You don't get like a pap.
I got the link. I dropped it somewhere up in here. That's the link to the person that's talking, the video here.
On the back and a gold star because your great whatever was law abiding when there was no law that he could have violated, even if he wanted to. But we told this lie that we came for these upstanding principles. So we'll say things like, well, you know, our people came for liberty and freedom, democracy. These people are just coming for stuff. They're just coming for jobs. They're just coming for healthcare. They're just coming for stuff. We came for high-minded principle, right? Because we believe that. What kind of third grade version of American history is that, right? Like when Donald Trump says, well, Mexico's not sending their best. What the hell? You think Europe sent their best? Europe? No, our people were the losers of Europe. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm just telling you the truth. Like, our people were the losers of Europe. The winners didn't get on the boat. You understand what I'm saying? The winners didn't leave. Why the hell would you leave if you were winning? Only the losers left because they had no choice. They were dying. They were starving. They couldn't support their families. A lot of them were convicts who were sold into indentured servitude to work for rich European people. They were barely above the level of a slave themselves. The idea that we had these we didn't believe in liberty and freedom. And we know that because once we got to the colonies, we set up the opposite of liberty and freedom. And I don't just mean that for like black folks and native folks. I mean, even for other white folks. Like, we spent most of the time in the early colonies trying to figure out who the witch was, right? It was like, well, you're not a Christian. Well, no, you're not a Christian. Well, no, you're not a Christian. I'm going to hang you from a tree. Really? Well, I'm going to drown you in the stream. Well, I'm going to set you on fire. Like, that wasn't liberty. The colonies were some of the least free places in the history of the cosmos. But we act like we came for liberty, and they're just here to take advantage. Let's be clear. Our people didn't come for liberty. They came for stuff. They came for stuff like land. They came for stuff like opportunity. They came for stuff like the ability to feed their families. And there's no shame in that. None at all. But just like there's no shame in our families having done that, there's no shame in brown families doing that and coming over that border from Mexico, Central America, wherever else they might be coming. There's no shame in any of it, but we've told a lie. It's like we have this image in our head that sometime in like 1650.
The problem I get with this is that y'all taking it from us, the Native Black Americans. Y'all taking it from us. Because y'all couldn't accomplish nothing in y'all own country. Y'all coming and ruining and destroy our country, our way of living. Y'all came and destroyed our way of living. Y'all come in and step in on our way of living and then bring this. And like I say, I don't blame it just on white folks. I blame it on black folks. Because we allowed this. We allowed it. We let people that were so weakened in their own country that they keep coming, they coming to our country to sit here and colonize us. Cause they couldn't do nothing in their own. Y'all, boy, look here, boy. This shit here is crazy. But I blame black folks though. I blame black folks. I blame black folks. We were so how they call it? They say you got to damn, how you say the word? We were so humble that as this Caucasian is telling y'all that y'all took the advantage of that situation. Because they could keep trying to throw this native word in. And see, it ain't no such thing as no damn Indian. As far as what the picture of what they give y'all. Y'all got to understand, like I say, if we wasn't Native Americans, we would be getting deported when we commit a crime. We wouldn't be getting killed. It'd be easier for them to deport us back to whatever they feel like we were from. But the thing is that's like confusing to me is y'all heard this man just admit that Caucasians are immigrants, migrants. And why y'all don't get deported when y'all commit these mass shootings? Why y'all don't get deported when y'all commit these heinous crimes that y'all commit? Why y'all don't get deported? That's the thing I don't get. When we see and we understand and we hear that y'all migrants and immigrants and illegals and all this stuff, y'all got here when there was no bill. See, I keep telling y'all this. Everything have a date. It was a start date. The first day that a Caucasian came over here, that was the day that they came over here when there was no law, where there was no crimes, when there was no killing, when there was none of this mass shooting. At this time, when that Caucasian stepped foot on this land, that's when they brought the guns. That's when they brought the mind of destruction. That's when they brought, since they were slaves in their own country by their own people, they figured to come here and enslave us, which didn't work because they was only on one continent or the part of the United States. They wanted to come over here and create their own law. Because at one time, as y'all heard this man say, and then this Caucasian man say, there was no law here. Because we didn't need law. Because we were living humbly. We was living in peace. We was living to ourselves until you Caucasians came here. It would never be no such thing as a Mexico. It would never be no such thing as a Mexico if Caucasians weren't trying to separate what they were doing. So, like I say, my thing is, man, Caucasians, y'all got to understand that y'all ain't no better than that Mexican. Y'all ain't no better than that Haitian. Y'all ain't no better than that Jamaican. Y'all got to start wondering why y'all don't get deported. Y'all got to really wonder that. Why is y'all by the words of what Caucasian mean, y'all could get deported for crimes that y'all commit. The crimes we commit, if it wasn't no law, it wouldn't be no law. But the crimes we commit as Black Native Americans, we can't get deported nowhere. I don't know how common sense don't ring in people's minds and why we still fall for this situation. I'm not saying be hateful. I'm not saying being mean to nobody. But I'm saying let's give the same thing that every other country give tourists to their country. Let's treat everybody who are tourists to our country that now we have knowledge of that y'all is tourists. We don't care about none of this stuff about nothing. I wish that we could really get anybody that ain't native to this land. I wish we could make all y'all go for a green card. That way we could treat y'all the way y'all treat us in y'all country. You know what I'm saying? It might not be you per se, you might not be you per se. But your descendant, your lineage is that's what it is in your country. Y'all stand on business in y'all country. And I really think that people scared because when we start standing on business, y'all gonna really need a passport to come back here. Y'all gonna actually need a green card or a passport or whatever visa to be here. And I feel like that's only right because we need that in y'all country, where y'all lineage from, where y'all naturally from. We need that to go over there and live, whatever. We got to have a visa. So y'all, I feel like y'all should have the same thing. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to nobody, but disrespect to whoever want to take a disrespect. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I feel. I feel like y'all really need to get a visa. I need, and I don't even want to go by no my daddy black. Nah, fuck that. Nah. It's time to treat everybody equal. If a Haitian can have a child here and every child can still get deported back to Haiti when they ain't never been there, Caucasians should be able to get deported back to Europe, even though they ain't never been there. You know what I'm saying? Just like Mexicans could get deported, Jamaicans, Chinese, everybody should be able to get every race that ain't black, Native Black American. And I ain't talking about Haitians and Jamaicans. Y'all can get deported to Bahamian, whatever. Guyanese, African, whatever, however you want to call it. I feel like all y'all need visas to be over here. I feel like all y'all need visas. Y'all need green cards. Y'all need to establish yourself as migrants or immigrants. or whatever the fuck the other word is they got. But yeah, y'all should be all on the same status. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to do it when we go to y'all country. And I feel like it's only right. You know what I'm saying? It's only right.
This was a common scene in England. All the nice white noblemen got together, and one of them gathered his children around the fireplace in the middle of the 1600s and said, well, now, children, I think you'll agree with me that we're doing quite brilliant here, and we have this big mansion, and we have all this gold, and you remember last week when the king invited us to the palace, and you played out in the garden with his children. I know, it was brilliant, right? It was great. It was great. It was great. I bet it was lots of fun, but Daddy, it's that we need to stop all that nonsense and maybe strike out on an adventure. So here's my plan. Even though we're doing so well, even though we pretty much run the show here in England, I think that what we should do this summer, follow me, stick with me, I know it's going to be a stretch, but I promise it's going to be great, is we should get on a big boat. A rickety old ship. I don't even know if it's seaworthy, children. It might sink. We might be eaten by sharks. We might get hijacked by pirates. We might get scurvy and die a horrible death. However, I think you will agree it will be an adventure, a great one indeed. That did not happen. Noblemen didn't leave. Those who were doing well did not leave. Only the losers got on the boat. People say things like, well, my family came over on the Mayflower. Okay, sweetheart, you might not want to talk about that. If you actually knew who was on those early ships, I'm not sure who was, but I know who wasn't. The king. The king was not on that ship. Nobody the king really wanted to keep around was on that ship, right? So our inability to see this, though, understand the importance historically, if we don't understand that we came for the same reasons that folks come today, be they documented or not, then we can't see them in us, and we can't see us in them. And that's why we have this drama, because we're spending all this time pretending that our motivations and our even human decency and ethics are different when they're not, you see. This is why history matters so much. We can't fix any of these problems, whether it's immigration issues, whether it's criminal justice issues, whether it's wealth disparity, all of that. We can't do anything about that if we're not willing to understand history. But let me close with this. And it's a point that I think needs to be made, because sometimes when we talk about racism and we talk about the heavy weight of history, sometimes people assume that there is an attempt on my part or other anti-racist activists or educators' part to instill guilt in white people. I have no interest in white guilt, none. And people of color surely have no interest in white guilt. Guilt will not liberate anybody from anything. It will not liberate any of us from systems of inequality. It isn't about feeling guilty. It's not even about white people per se. It's about whiteness as a system, right? Sometimes people get tripped up on that, right? And they think like, oh, you hate white people. Actually, let me be clear. I love me some white people. I totally, absolutely love me some white people. My wife is white. I totally love her. Those daughters that I've been telling you about, they're white, because that's what happens when white people make babies. I love them. My mom, love her, nice white lady. And my dad and I don't get along, but it's not because he's white. It's about some other shit that we don't have time to process tonight. But if you read my book, White Like Me, you'll know what some of that is. We don't have to talk about that. It's not about white people. It's about whiteness. It's about a system of white supremacy that has turned us against one another, right? And so I want to tell you a story that tries to explain the difference between guilt and responsibility, so you'll know what I mean when I say those things are different, because it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to really understand why. So let me just share a brief story with you, and then I'll take questions, and I'll let you out of here, and I'll be happy to sell you some books if you want one, because I got a college fund to pay for. So, you know, feel free to come buy some merchandise. But anyway, the story is not about racism. So that part of the speech is over, right? It's not about oppression. It's not about privilege. It's not about inequality. It's about something totally different. But I think the story has a lesson in it about those subjects. So it has to do with something that happened to me when I got out of college. I graduated 26 years ago this May from Tulane University in New Orleans. And when I graduated, for some reason, I'm still not totally clear on this, I thought it would be a really great idea to move into a very large house with 9 other people. Let me just give you a little life advice, all right? Like, if you haven't already figured this out, okay, do not think for 1 minute that it is ever a good idea to move into a very large house with 9 other people. It usually is not nearly as fun as you think it is going to be. It has all kinds of problems, but we didn't think about any of those. We thought it was going to be great. Why? Because it was going to be cheap. And we did that because we were broke, right? We were right out of college. We didn't have any money. Rent was $525 a month. I don't mean per person, I mean total, right? So again, not good at math, but I can do those numbers. $52.50 per person per month, man. You add the cable bill, the utility bills, we split the food, right? It's still less than $100 a month. So like on that level, this was a great idea, right? This was brilliant, right? $100 a month, man. Even in 1990 dollars, that was good, right? It'd be ridiculous today, but it would be good even by 1990 standards. So on a financial level, it made sense. But about 6 weeks into this little experiment in communal living, we came to understand, or at least I did, why it had been a terrible mistake. And this is what happened. I was working downtown and I was living uptown. So I get on the streetcar to come back uptown in New Orleans. I get off the streetcar. I walk, 5 blocks or so into the house on Robert Street. I go up the steps at 1805 Robert. I open the door and I'm met by this incredible smell. And I mean that in a good way, which is important to point out because when you live with 9 other people, there's all kinds of smells. They're usually not good. This one was actually really nice. It was the smell of dinner being cooked for the whole group because we also took turns making dinner for each other. And this particular night, one of my roommates was making dinner on the left front burner of the stove. There was this big pot of gumbo, right? And man, that's what you do in New Orleans. Big pot of gumbo, and it smelled good, and it looked good, and it even had shrimp in there. Not many, like I said, we were broke, but it had like 3. Right? 3 of those really little bitty ass shrimp. Those shrimp that are like so small, right, that they make jumbo shrimp look like lobsters or something, right? And so I looked at it and I smelled it and I thought, man, that looks great. And when my roommate asked me if I wanted any, I normally would have said yes, but as it turned out, I didn't know he was going to make gumbo for the night. And so I'd already had dinner downtown before I, came uptown after I got off work. So I said, hey man, I already ate, but do me a favor. Smells great, looks great. Take me some of that, put it in the fridge. I'm going to take it to work tomorrow for lunch. And he said, okay, great. And so he does that. And then I go upstairs and, listen to music, watch TV, hung out with some friends or whatever, and did whatever we did for fun in 1990. There wasn't much. Like social networking in 1990 was pretty much you just walk down the hall to your roommate's room and you're like, hey, what you doing? And they were like, nothing. It's 1990. There's nothing to do. Go back to sleep. Get with us in like 15 years and there'll be something maybe, or 20 years, right? So we all sort of go to bed early. I went to bed sort of early, woke up the next morning at like 7:30. Came downstairs to get some coffee, get ready to go to work. And I noticed that on the left front burner of our stove was still the same pot of gumbo. And man, it did not smell as good or look as good as it had the night before. And my roommate had neither saved any of it for me, nor had he cleaned it. So I was pissed on 2 levels, right? Now the food had gone to waste. I definitely wasn't going to eat it now. But he also left the mess for me or, maybe one of the other roommates to clean. So I sat there and I thought about what I wanted to do. Part of me wanted to wake him up, right? Get him to clean it, give him hell for it. But then I thought, no, I'm going to be nice. I'm just going to clean it. I'll take it up with him when I get home. So I took the pot of gumbo and I brought it over to the sink and I got the brush and the soap and I started running the water into the pot of nasty day old gumbo. And I stopped myself halfway through. And I said, man, I don't have to clean this. This isn't my mess. I didn't even eat any of this, let alone did I make it. So now I'm feeling really self-righteous because I'm talking myself out of doing the hard work, right? So now I feel real smart. So I take the pot of gumbo and I put it right back where I found it on the left front burner, right? And I walk out the door, head held high, knowing that I had not been suckered into cleaning somebody else's mess, right? So then I come back that night at about 6:15, 6:30, and I see one of my other roommates making dinner on the right front burner of the stove. But on the left front burner, right where it had been now for 24 hours, it's the same pot of gumbo getting nastier, more disgusting, more crusted on the sides of the pot. I looked at my roommate. I'm like, man, what are you doing? Like, I know you can smell dinner from last night. How the hell can you make dinner for us now on the right front burner when it's right under your nose? Why don't you clean that? And he looked at me and said, hey, man, I didn't make the gumbo. I didn't even eat any of the gumbo. I wasn't even here last night. How about you? I said, hey, man, not me. Now we both felt self-righteous and we knew what it meant. He looked at me and said, so you want some lentils and rice? And I said, absolutely. So I piled up my plate with lentils and rice. I ate my dinner. I wiped off the dish in the sink, cleaned it, dried it, put it in the dish rack, went upstairs, hung out with the roommates, did whatever we do for fun in 1990. Once again, went to bed sort of early. Woke up the next morning. I'd forgotten to set an alarm. Wake up about 7. But here's a tip. If you're living in a house where a pot of gumbo has been sitting on the left front burner of the stove for what is now 36 and a half hours, you are not going to need an alarm clock to wake your ass up. You are going to be awake, right? Because the smell is going to find you. It is going to crawl out of the pot of gumbo. on the legs that it grew overnight. And I'm not speaking in metaphor, English majors. I mean that shit literally. Like the stink is going to grow feet and legs, and it is going to crawl out of the pot, across the kitchen, across the living room, up the stairs, down the back hall, go under your door frame, and it is going to find with the precision of a laser that thing on the front of your face you call the nose, and you will be awake. And now I was pissed, because I knew what the smell meant, right? I knew what was waiting for me on the left front burner, having not been cleaned by anybody, least of all the guy that made the gumbo. So I opened my door real loud. I start stomping down the hall, hoping to wake people up, hoping to let them know just how displeased I am. Live with 9 other people, cannot find one of them. And the guy that made the gumbo's like, where's Waldo? Nobody knows where in the hell he went. He just made the gumbo like a practical joke and disappeared, right? Just wanted to see how long it would take for somebody else to clean up his mess, I guess. And I get down to the bottom of the stairs. I look across the living room into the kitchen. I see the pot of gumbo, and I'm pretty confident the gumbo saw me, right? With the eyes that it had also grown. It was evolving right there in our kitchen very rapidly, yes. And it was at that moment, not one moment earlier, but definitely not a moment later, that I came to understand maybe the most important lesson I'd ever learned about any subject. And what was it? The lesson was, it didn't really matter anymore who made the mess. Didn't really matter anymore who was the author of all this unpleasantness, as the old saying goes. The only thing that mattered was that I was tired of living in that nastiness. I was tired of living with the residue of somebody else's actions. I was not to blame, but I had to take responsibility, because if I didn't, it may not get clean. You see, and the same is true with human society. When we decide that we will clean up the residue of what other folks left us, even though they did it without our permission and without our involvement, when we decide that we're tired of living in that, we will clean it. Not because we are to blame, not because we are guilty, but because we're the only damn ones left. Thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
All right, y'all, man. That's my time, man. Like I say, that was a video from this lawyer gave a speech that left white folks upset. Hey, fuck it. Y'all should be upset. Anyway, man. Y'all make sure y'all hit. Y'all know y'all don't even do that, y'all, man. I'm gonna get up out of here, man. Shout out to everybody who came tapped in with us, man. Even the bush watchers, man. I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself in the bedroom, man, and go ahead and chillax with the wifey. Y'all stay safe out there, man. Y'all take this opportunity, man, and better yourself, man. Better yourself, man. And like you said, man. And I ain't taking what he said like a grain of salt. Yeah, I'm just tired, y'all. I'm just tired of people thinking they better than and better than and better than and better when y'all ain't, you feel me? And I know it's just real talk. Y'all ain't no better than the other motherfucker. You feel me? If you want to call it a spade, you feel me? Y'all is that spade. Just accept that, man, and just do better, man. All right, Susan, good night. Good night. Appreciate you coming through. And I'm going, y'all.